All right, good morning, everyone. We are going to meet with Kim Reidy here shortly and chat about what's been going on in the relocation sector of our market here in Seattle. We've noticed a lot of people coming inbound to Seattle recently, and I know Kim's been crazy busy. Hi.
Hello.
Let's try this again.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so you're basically just like crazy busy right now, huh?
Yeah. I think all the companies have been hiring for the entire time during COVID, but no one has been felt safe enough to move yet. But now with vaccinations and a lot of the offices announcing openings, now we're starting to see people coming all at once.
Yep. So it's kind of like compound. It's the people who were trying to relocate last year were scheduled to, and then the companies all kept on hiring. And then now we're working with the people who couldn't move last year when they were being hired. And then we have the new hires that are being hired this year too. So there's like three different categories of relocating employees, really.
Yeah. And sadly for the interns, they're also still coming in and they kind of have the least of success out there with everybody else flooding the market.
Yeah, it was funny how last year with rentals, we really just didn't see any of the requests for 3-month leases or more shorter, right? But then this year, I kind of forgot about it. Now I'm seeing a lot of people, oh, is this, available for 3 months, 2 months, month to month? And those guys are probably not having any luck, really, finding anything.
Yeah, I mean, the apartments are so slim pickings right now. I mean, they're flying off the shelf. Most buildings are down to like one or two in the entire building to offer.
Yeah, short term. Where are they going? Are they having like hotels, like staying in hotels, or is it?
I'm not sure. I mean, we're just at our capacity that we can't even assist them. I mean, I know that there's been trends in the past where a couple of them will pile up into a 1 or 2 bedroom and just break their lease because it's actually cheaper to do that than it is to rent long term to rent short term and pay the premium prices or just be turned away.
Well, I know in the past too, a lot of these companies would rent out bulk in a lot of the apartment buildings too, and just run the short term. So I'm assuming last year what happened is they kind of shut that whole system down. And now this year, there's either that inventory not to choose from on the rental side, or they just haven't put it in place quite yet.
Yeah, I think all of the above. I mean, one of the big tech employers have always been really good at like kind of grabbing an apartment building before it even hits the market and rent 75, 50% of it just to benefit the employees. But yeah, again, I think with construction being stalled and just with the high demand out there in the market, both for sales and for rent, no one's willing to make special accommodations.
Yeah. So with the inbound employees that you are seeing come in, is there a certain like group or certain company that's really pushing right now in hiring?
Yeah, I mean, Amazon traditionally is usually our biggest push in employer, especially at this time of year. They have a tendency to hire a lot of folks coming out of college, maybe first-time jobs. So this is kind of prime time for that. So certainly kind of our biggest account that we're dealing with right now. But yeah, Microsoft is back. Procter Gamble's been amping up, as has REI, which are two little bit smaller. REI's local. Procter Gamble come out to work with Costco and Amazon and companies like that. So as I see companies like Amazon and Costco kind of bulking up, then you have the residual people that are kind of falling in line for that. The hospitals and biotech have been pretty steady across the board, but I think a lot of their employees are now just feeling comfortable with the actual move.
Yep, gotcha. Good. And with those are we looking at families? Are we generally looking at kind of like that typical software developer who's just kind of coming out of college? Is that kind of what you're seeing the most?
Right now it is. Yeah. Again, I don't know. I think a lot of the families might be moving straight into purchasing. I've been seeing that as a pretty big trend in renting as a backup. But again, renting not being very forgiving in the area. So people don't have that opportunity if you want to purchase a home to find a house to rent for a couple months for the whole family just to kind of handle as a buffer. So people are pretty much going straight away, finding that school district, buying that house and getting into that market so they can kind of be a little autonomous and not have to move the family so often.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I think even in the sales market, so it's not, I guess on the condo side, I've noticed a lot of inbound employees who are coming in actually just straight up purchasing condos, which I think, is interesting because, they're last year, obviously the condo market dipped significantly, so it kind of had a little bit of a price correction. And so it's almost a really good value right now if someone wants to get into the condo market. So we're seeing more people just jump right in. Whereas before they would take their time and wait and maybe rent. And then, on the rental side for downtown, I mean, I know Jenny and I have just noticed all of a sudden, like the switch flipped. And yeah, and there's tons of people moving, and people without actually even jobs. And they're, I just had one that I rented. And he's like, well, I don't have a job right now. I'm applying for, in tech, a couple of these positions. I'll just pay 6 months rent, up front. And so people are coming here because they obviously want to live in Seattle, and there's still a lot of opportunity here too.
So many opportunities. I've definitely had a lot of that where one spouse already has a job and the other one just thinks it's a great opportunity, whether it's tech sector or restaurants or retail, HR. I mean, there's so many opportunities out there right now. I mean, thankfully, Seattle, we were pretty protected with the pandemic, and most of our companies grew.
Yeah, they did. Are you doing, I know you're crazy busy with tours, as are all the other agents in our office. But are a lot of the inbound employees, are they doing sight unseen searches too and having you guys go out? Or
Yeah, I would say 50-50 right now, in person versus virtual.
Got it.
And people even purchasing virtual is not super unusual right now either. But people are definitely, especially if you're renting an apartment or from like a reputable property manager, if there's enough online presence for something, most people feel pretty comfortable with us just kind of filling in the gaps for them. So I'm doing probably 2 live clients a week and at least 2 virtual clients a week, if not more. So definitely split 50-50.
Yep. I did have a sale actually from a couple moving from Chicago where they never actually saw it in person before they purchased, and they came out for the inspection, of course, but I thought that was kind of interesting too. So not only renting, but also purchasing, and then
I've had people who've not even come out for the inspection before. I mean, they found a house and their offer was accepted. It was in the right school district. That's all they cared about at that point. Yeah. As long as they had a roof over their head.
And I'm wondering if that short-term rental thing comes into play, because again, typically some of these employers, they'll have, short-term housing. So they come here, they have housing for 2 to 3 months, right?
Usually and then 2 to 4 weeks.
2 to 4 weeks. Oh, okay. So they've shortened it since. Okay. So they have that little buffer. But I'm wondering if that, even the pool of properties for that type of offering has kind of scaled back a little bit. So it's forcing the new hires basically to make these moves, come out, do a housing trip, secure their housing, or just decide to do it unseen.
Yeah, some of the employers actually offer a cash incentive if they don't use the temporary accommodations, just because, of course, with having that, they're spending an arm and a leg. I mean, I think they're averaging about $300 a night to be in a small term accommodation. So usually what a company will do is rent the apartment for a long period of time, and then just break up the chunks for people and just kind of move them in and have housekeeping in between. The employees don't seem to be pushing back though on going straight in, just because again, less moves, get your own stuff right away. Everybody I think is a little bit more sensitive to using other people's sheets and towels, and just kind of having your own personal stuff is important.
Yeah, that's a good point. So they basically, and also shuffling around and staying in multiple places. People just want to get settled. They don't want to live in limbo, especially if you're having to spend a lot of time at home, and maybe they're even working from home when they come here first, and because none of the offices are fully open anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, just be able to get themselves set up and get their routines going is pretty important.
Yeah. Are you seeing any other trends just in terms of what they're looking for or asking, or I know we always think that before people would come here from other markets and be like, sticker shock. Are people really feeling that now, or has that kind of subsided?
Actually, I think a little bit more so.
Oh, really?
A lot of people know that they've been coming to Seattle, so they've been researching and watching pricing for the last 6 months or so. And as you know, in the sales and rental market, things in November are certainly not the same that they are now. So a lot of people were in hopes and that was kind of the market that they were walking into. A little less heated, a little bit more affordable, but like supply and demand in any industry, where everything's in high demand right now. So prices are actually higher now than they were in the summer pre-pandemic. I'm actually shocked about how expensive the prices are right now, and I don't see them regulating because there's just a lack of inventory. I mean, it just really is.
And so when you're talking about prices, are you talking about like single family rental homes? Are you talking about condos, more apartment buildings, kind of everything? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you want a single family home for rent or for sale, you're going to need a bidding war. I mean, that's just what it is. And what I'm hearing from the corporate relocation companies that I deal with people nationally, that's actually pretty much par for the course everywhere. I mean, everywhere is seeing a shortage with single family homes for rent, for sale. So people are dealing with that kind of market everywhere. So I don't think people are super shocked when they get into that market. Seattle, where it's pretty progressive in our landlord-tenant laws. So the one thing that Seattle has a little bit of an edge over the suburbs is that we don't necessarily have the bidding wars for things that you do over the suburbs, where they can just collect as many applications as they want, maybe put people against each other to kind of find their best and final offer, where in Seattle, you have to accept the first qualified applicant that meets your terms. Yeah, so that gives people, if people are looking for single family home, although it's super competitive, at least it's a little less cutthroat with pricing and conditions in Seattle than the suburbs.
Yeah, I could see that. I think one of our agents had like 11 offers on a house, maybe even more, and maybe you've had more too. But just it's sifting through. I mean, it's no different than the time, energy, and effort put forth to a multiple offer scenario on a house that's for sale, right? Yeah. It's like the same. And then, in fact, in Seattle, there's all the criteria in which you put in place before they apply, and like you said, the first in line law and all that sort of thing. I mean, it's pretty intense, and no one walks away happy whenever they're, it's a rental. Everyone kind of thinks, okay, well, why would you have 20 applications on a rental property? It's just because there's a shortage. And so many people kind of move into the area. It's crazy. I mean, 6 months ago, our market was just kind of peeling out of the winter. But I'd say really in the last 4 months, we've completely kind of switched gears. So are you seeing a certain area of people, like our East Coast, or is it California? Are you seeing kind of a trend in terms of where these people are coming from?
Yeah, I mean, pretty all over the board, but I would say East Coast mostly, kind of Boston, DC, New York, that kind of corridor over the East Coast, which is pretty typical too for this time of year. You do see a lot of colleges kind of placed in that corridor that bring out a lot of people, plus just other tech companies and other big companies that, people are looking for different opportunities, maybe getting closer to home or trying a new city. In Seattle, believe it or not, Seattle's not dead. Everybody wants to be here. Hence the bags under our eyes.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, put the bright light on my face so gets rid of my dark circles. Crazy. Yeah, we've all been kind of running ragged, but
looking forward to a day off.
I know, right? I know I didn't kind of ask you to come prepared with any like stats or whatnot, but do you know approximately how many companies we're working with at the moment, just in terms of?
I would say about 10 or 12 companies.
Okay.
Active clientele, I think we're probably sitting in the early 1200s, right? About 1200, around that many clients that are
that's great.
That are kind of in our database right now.
Yeah.
Most projecting to get here before September.
That is so nuts. I mean, that's just that's a record in terms of what our company has had for our queue, but that's so insane.
Yeah, I mean, our normal queue we kind of have two different components kind of coming at us, and our normal queue that we've dealt with for the last 10 years, that's even busier than it's ever been, not including the additional queue that we've taken advantage of over the last year with some new partnerships. So it's coming. Yeah. So a lot of people are having to look into if they want to rent into apartments because, the single family homes are so nutty.
Yep.
And I think, again, that's why we're seeing most families kind of push more into the purchasing side of things straight away.
Got it. Or try to at least.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Are the employees that are coming, that are working for the tech companies, and let's say Amazon as probably one of the main ones, but are they wanting to be close to campus, like being downtown is like priority? Yeah. I mean, they don't care. The work from home thing for them, it's like their priority is being close to campus.
Yeah, they kind of like the idea of maybe getting a little further out and maybe saving a little bit more money, but once they realize that parking's not free at work and then that kind of commute, and then finding adequate parking around work is this just doesn't make much sense. So instead of finding a parking lot for $300 a month to park around Amazon, why not install that in your rent and live somewhere fun? So that's generally where most folks are trying to be, is in that corridor, about that 3-mile radius around Amazon. And then that also collectively works well for Facebook and Google. The biotech companies also sit in there, and then Microsoft, although it's out in the suburbs, has a direct bus line, and there's shuttles, which also kind of pick up in that little circle as well. So, so tech workers without kids, pretty much that's where they're looking.
The urban core, And then where has, just throwing this out there, where's like the craziest location? Because I know everyone goes everywhere. I mean, we're placing people everywhere in the Puget Sound area. Like, have you had any requests, I think, for the islands or anything way up north or way down south?
Yeah, some people are considering Tacoma. Again, although employers are back, it does seem that most employers are still staggering and maybe doing 1 or 2 days in the office or available for meetings. So it's not that normal 9 to 5 grind that people have to get back into, probably are not expecting to, maybe in years. So they can have the freedom of, living a little further out. Families definitely eye the islands, especially more in the purchasing side of things, just because it's more affordable to live at the islands and deal with that ferry commute back and forth. So you can get a little bit more for your money. So if you have a couple kids, we had a client with 5 kids that came through last week. So we're like, this might be great for you, because you get a lot of space, a lot more for your money out there, if he's willing to kind of take that commute. But the younger folks, they certainly, see things like West Seattle, where our prices in West Seattle are certainly very affordable. Because we have a bridge to get in and out of that's going to probably not work functionally for another 5 years. So because of that inconvenience, those prices are great. So we kind of start there. But again, once they kind of figure out the commutes and how that works, they're all coming back. Got it.
Cool. Is there anything else that you kind of want to touch on as far as what you're seeing on the relocation side?
Yeah, I mean, just being prepared. If people are out there looking and considering the move to Seattle, just kind of getting prepared and just expecting things to move quickly. And just, if you see something you like, grab it. I mean, I know it's hard and you want to sleep on it, maybe see something come along, but it's sadly they move so quickly, you might be left without anything to choose from.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've also seen a lot of, actually, on a side note, I've seen a lot of the construction companies too starting to bring in people. So I've had a lot of project managers and such. So that's been encouraging. I've had people who are working on the light rail projects. So just getting more public transportation will be fantastic. So it's good to see that that's kind of bulking up as well. As well as just buildings downtown and such. We need more vacancies. I hope they build us more condos so we can sell, we have more to sell to people and more apartments to get more people in there.
Well, we kind of have a cluster of new apartments that it's been pretty quiet. We really haven't talked about up on the top of Denny and where it meets with Fairview, right there. So the West Bank project up there. I mean, there's a couple significant properties that are going in there that probably will bring, 700 some units, if not 1,000 to the market. I saw there was another property going on the market about 9th in Virginia, between 9th and 10th on Virginia. New project that's not going to be done until 2023, but I think we will see another kind of flurry of apartment buildings coming to market and another flurry of condos, which we have 5 to 6 new construction stuff downtown core. So I definitely think we're going to be more apartment heavy with what comes into market in the next, let's say, 5 years for new construction for sure. But we do have tons of sites that have kind of been sitting dormant, downtown for the last year. So I think in probably the next 6 months, we'll start hearing a little bit more of how those are going to be coming to market and design review meetings and all that sort of thing too. So
I'm looking
feels
forward
like
to
we're
that.
it feels like we're just kind of bursting. All of a sudden, we just start bursting at the seams, and it's been crazy. So, hi, we're back.
Hi.
Did you get a phone call?
We're so busy. My phone keeps ringing. I've probably gotten 6 phone calls since we've been on. So I think that's what keeps disconnecting everything.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and end this then. Thank you for kind of chatting a little bit more. I've been wondering just what's been going on because we see it from the ground side, but you really have a better picture and handle on what's going on that side of things. So thank you, Kim. I know you're crazy busy right now.
Well, thanks for checking in. It's always good.
Yeah.
It's always good to just kind of touch base with other people in the market.
For sure. Good. Well, have a great weekend, and
Thanks, you too.
let me know if you need anything.
Yeah. Understatement of the year.
Yeah, I know. All right. We'll see you later.
Take care.
Bye.